first of all, let me start by the process that Article 146 itself entails and what is the responsibility on either ends of it. So we have designed a particular process that says the Council of State is in charge to make a prima facie determination whether or not the committee should go ahead. My understanding and my consistent view on prima facie means that if the allegations on their face, if proved, would amount to the removal of the Chief Justice. That's what my understanding of prima facie is. So the question then for the committee is to determine whether or not those allegations have been proved. Because it is the political body that advises the president that makes the determination to set what is the moral language and weight we should accord to the facts as alleged. So that already, once the prima facie determination has been made, what we are coming now to determine is whether or not proof exists for the allegations that have been made. That for me is my view of that. So the real determination of what should be the content or tenor of stated misbehavior, we must take that direction from the Council of State. Because I believe inherently that lawyers are not better placed, and in this case, the committee is not only made of lawyers, to judge what should be the moral temperature or the moral grounds under which a person should serve to the higher office. That decision we commit it to the political body that the Council of State is.
If Kufu was there,
yeah, she was there. She was part of the process as well.
Trivial, and she
was part of the process as well.
So she abstained.
In that process, she did not object to, and in fact, she was entitled to object to and entitled to write her own reasons as to why she does not take the view. She's of course no less a person. She's chairing the legal committee of the Council of State. So if you're deciding to abstain, you are taking a morally ambivalent position on the issue. But I don't want to, again, speculate about her own conduct. It's a council's decision, ultimately, not an individual. So the council having taken the view that we have looked at these allegations, if they are proven to be true, we believe that they are grounds enough to remove the Chief Justice.
Vakufu says, even if audits, flag these issues, okay, they would normally maybe do a surcharge or disallowance, and then the person would have refunded. That's what she says in her own words. This is not enough to remove the person from office. And
the benefit of, she's a former Chief Justice. Even if she was sitting on the Supreme Court, her opinion must be weighted against that of everybody else. She forms part of the council that advises the president. And they have taken the view that this is the standard to which we want to hold the high office. She's entitled to disagree. And I don't want to even go back and forth on whether she's entitled to disagree. The other persons who disagree. In fact, those representing the Chief Justice also disagree with the committee. So for me, it is not about that in itself. But what we are consistently doing in this process is for us as a nation to determine what are the moral benchmarks by which we want to hold office holders. Now, that conversation has come up severally in connection with 146 and stated misbehavior. In the case of Jacob Opon, we decided that the fact that he refused Larry Beaming's order to change his office was sufficient misstated misbehavior because it amounted to insubordination. That tells me that if the Chief Justice then gives a command to a Supreme Court Justice to do XYZ, which is competent to do in administrative duties, and the Supreme Court Justice refuses, that is stated misbehavior.
He just referred to Jacob Opon, who was one of the first
persons removed under 146.
Under 146, he was working with the NCC as a deputy to Larry Beaming. And you are saying the basis for which he was removed under 146 was that
he refused the direction of Larry Beaming to change his office.
You are being told over and again that don't compare these offices to that of the Chief Justice, which is an arm of government.
Absolutely, I don't accept it. I absolutely cannot accept that. No. I cannot accept that because 146 states what is the moral basis on which we would judge the conduct of persons who are caught within the provision. So it is not that a person becomes so powerful that moral restraints that will hold other persons, their position elevates them beyond it. What are we saying?
That's
now,
okay.
Of course, my biggest concern in terms of the architecture of our public office and how we hold them to account is the fact that when we decided that those who were making payments to spouses of presidents and vice presidents was unconstitutional, there was no mechanism to bring their removal into question. It is the fact that there's no holistic application around the entire body of our public officers that is creating this disconnect that makes other people feel that everything can be negotiated out of. Everything is not that bad. It is that bad. Whenever we have taken decisions that violate the Constitution, there should never be a case that I am so important that I should not be removed. In fact, you started your take by the Deputy Prime Minister of the country. This is the second in command of, is the equivalent to our Vice President in many respects. Is resigning because of paying inadequate property taxes. So we as a society have then decided that everything can be massaged. This is not that bad. We have always done this in many ways. Somebody can come and beg for you. And because of this, even when we are presented with an indication that maybe the political class wants to be pushed even further, we don't go the full haul. So me, my position is clear. I don't want to. The question that was procedurally relevant for the committee is that, are these allegations proven? The fact that they are proven is not in doubt. Now, you can disagree whether or not you think that persons who are in certain offices should be allowed a certain margin for moral irresponsibility. It's your own position. You can also decide that, you know what, in fact, for these ones, we want to hold them to the highest standards. And for which reason, even when you are found to have acted capriciously in connection with Mr. Baden in the second allegation, or on basis of whether personal dislike or resentment, we think that for your office and for who you are, you must be removed. For me, that sets the tone of what we expect of the office. Now, the reason why we have come into a situation like this is because we have a country where persistently we have made it such a case that everything, when it happens, we can decide whether or not we want to move forward with it or we don't want to move forward with it. And so many times when things like this have happened, the expectation is that people will kill it, people will deal with it in a particular manner. And for which reason, it is almost unfair that persons will be held to these standards when they have to. But I see so many instances, and perhaps those of us who are constantly in the defense of those who are the poorer sections and the weaker sections of our society know that they don't get as much grace. In connection with the process. Now, is it proven that the Chief Justice then, in taking certain trips, acted in violation of the Constitution? Yes. What Sofa Akufo is telling us that even if it happened, we should excuse it. But that's not my place to say. The first thing we need to look at even is in terms of the Code of Conduct of Judges and Magistrates, which is telling us that judges must act in terms of propriety, way above even what the public does. That is their own code of conduct. So if this is their own view of the situation, I think that I will be in a wrong position to come and say the committee was not entitled to be able to reach the conclusions that we reached. My only hope is that other public officers, we have established mechanisms that it is not sufficient that people are held before the Public Accounts Committee and we laugh and jaw over it and then things are gone. If we believe that the Chief Justice of this Republic can be removed for those, then every officer that misconducts themselves in this similar manner should also be removed.
I'll go to my